Colby, you know there's rules, right?
What What are the rules, Barry?
No artificial light, no changes to the barn, and don't move to Norway. I forgot the rules already. I'm sorry. What?
Not no excess noise.
Oh, that's what. What's going on, guys? My name is Barry,
Oh, this is Colby.
and this is Who Watches This. Bum.
A theme music.
Hello, guys. Welcome to this second week of Christmas holiday cheer movie.
Our second favorite season of the year.
We really only celebrate like 2 months.
Right.
With
It's
holiday
Halloween
films.
and Christmas.
And yet, we always try to find horror movies to do on Christmas. I love it.
Right. Yeah. And there was one year, a couple years back, we did Irish movies for
Did we? For Christmas?
for St.
St.
Patrick's.
Patty's.
Yeah.
We should probably keep that going. I'm pretty sure there's a lot of Irish cinema out there that we still haven't touched.
Right. Yeah.
Catholic
Right. And can we
priest.
anything if we can't find something, we'll just throw in like a Colin Farrell movie and then
And call it a day. Close, or just like anyone from like Ireland, just any
Yeah,
Irish
yeah.
actor. You're like,
Yeah.
it's St. Patty's month. Oh man, but this one was a fun one that I had the pleasure of choosing for this week. And before we introduce it to you, you guys know we have the Rhyme Fest trailer.
the rap.
Right. All right. What a treat to move across the world for this duo, their children, a boy and a teen girl. Norway sure does seem nice if done right, but they don't know what they might that they don't know that they might be in for a fight. With locals and possible supernatural beings, we're gonna have to see how they're faring or seeing. Will this holiday bring this family some harm? We're going to find out in 2023's There's Something in the Barn. I stumbled there. I was like, this rhymed last night.
At 4:00 in the morning, this was rhyming.
I had a little bit of whiskey in me, because I finished work. And
Yep.
But that really is kind of how life goes, right, guys? A little bit of whiskey, you're like, that sounds about right. But yeah, we're talking about the 2023 Netflix Christmas film, I believe. There's Something in the Barn, starring the only person I really recognize is the guy from Freaks and Geeks.
So I recognize the two people. So the mom of the family
Yeah.
is she was in quite a few episodes of Game of Thrones.
Oh.
She wasn't like a major character, but she
Okay.
was kind of like a handmaid to the Khaleesi. But I know
Okay.
I know you didn't really watch much Game of Thrones.
I love fantasy, right? I love like fantasy stuff, but for some reason, whenever it comes to things like Game of Thrones, Lord of the Rings, it's huge bore to me. I don't understand it because I love like D&D stuff. I love Final Fantasy, but when it comes, I don't know. Maybe it's the old English talk.
Maybe.
Yeah, because my friend was like super trying to get me to Game of Thrones. He's like, dude, boobs. And I was like, all right, let's go check out.
And then, so all the Norwegian films that Netflix has picked up
Yeah.
seem to have the lady who was the sheriff in them.
Yeah,
Like, because
her I did recognize.
yeah, there was one Ragnarok, which was like kind of a cool current day Thor story,
Yeah.
and she was Thor's mom. And there was something else that I saw her in, but the one that kind of like totally surprised me was I don't know the name, Kiran Shah. He's the guy who plays the elf,
The main elf?
but he is in every science fiction fantasy like major movie in the last 20 years.
Like
He was in Andor, the Star Wars thing. He was in Dracula. He was in Star Wars Episode 9. He was in Solo.
that guy says
He was in a couple episodes of Doctor Who. He was in Rogue One. He was in The Hobbit. He was in
was he a
Adventures of Narnia. He was in two of the Harry Potter movies. He was in he was in my favorite movie, The Adventures of Baron Munchausen.
Wow, that's an old movie too.
He was in Tarzan, Legend of Greystoke. He was in the original Return of the Jedi Star Wars movie. So he's been doing it for a long time. He was in Raiders of the Lost Ark.
So you're saying I have to put respect on this guy's name?
He is like the biggest actor that I don't know.
Yeah, like any role that requires like a little person,
Yeah,
he's in there. He is British David Warwick.
Very much. Yes.
Also,
It's a good way to say it.
apologize if David Warwick is also British. Sorry. All I hear is the leprechaun's voice in my head. Also, if he's Irish, sorry. They're like,
that's right. It was the wrong month.
right? They're gonna be like, he's not British, you prick. He's Irish.
See, it's weird because when this very first came out, I saw the trailers and I wanted to see it, but I don't think it clicked in my head that it was a Christmas movie.
I mean, like, yeah, because like it's very like, oh my god. So I hated that like for a time, even till now, movies had done like posters in a certain way.
Mm-hmm.
You kind of like it's very like I don't know, like the Avengers movies and all that stuff kind of had like accumulated into just like where everyone's movie posters are like this.
Right. Yes.
But then when you see the thumbnail on the YouTube, it's like, oh, okay, that's like a gnome or something, very Christmassy.
Mm-hmm.
All right, but like, yeah, they all look like it's like all that.
Yes. Yeah. Like the whole
cast
group, everybody, the whole cast
is
lots of like purples and bright oranges and stuff like.
But like when you look at like say like this one, like the thumbnail. Or it's just like a straight up like it's a gnome. He's holding a bloody hatchet.
Right, gives you a very different idea.
Exactly, right. But yeah, let's get into this movie. I was like surprised that I was kind of disappointed in myself that I had never heard this movie, and you know how much I love Christmas horror films because that's what really the holidays are. It's a horror. Any holiday, Jesus.
Once you're past 12, you've outgrown like kitty Santa Claus, and then it's time to get the spooks.
But no, we start this movie off in a very desolate farmhouse. It's snowing, so you're kind of like unclear where you are, really, right?
Right. Yeah.
Until like this person comes out and he's speaking Norwegian.
I was right, and at that point, I was like, "Oh, is this a subtitled movie?"
Yeah, that's what. But I was like, no, I saw like Martin Starr, and I was like, it has to be in English, right? And this guy, he's just super pissed. He's coming out just angry about something, and he's just you see the first thing you see him is he's gonna set this barn on fire.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And he's like, it ends tonight. It's like he's been haunted or something like that, right? But as he tries to set it off, it's not working. So
Right. Yeah.
he goes into the
Everything, like he tries to start his car and the batteries cables look like they're chewed. And then like he yeah, throws gasoline all over the barn, but then like his lighter's broken.
and so he goes back into the barn, and it looks like he's trying to stand off against something.
Yeah.
But all of a sudden, he goes up to the second floor of the barn, and then something knocks him out of the barn, and something throws
Right, it looks like a flaming tire.
like where did the fire come from? And like obviously this like he falls onto the floor, and now there's all this like lighter fluid or gasoline on him.
Right.
And this
Yep.
flaming tire comes off from the second floor and just hits him, and he sets him on fire.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, and you don't get up from that, especially not at that age.
Right,
He's an old guy.
Right, I was like, "Come on, man, stop, drop, and roll." But I guess like the gasoline keeps like the flames lit. I don't know. I'm no scientist. But after that, we cut away to like a really cool. I like this like little title sequence where it's like showing like it's kind of giving you a preview of what like is possibly there, right? Because it's a lot of like dwarvish or elfish looking imagery.
Yeah.
And it's like the old school.
Right, like it's like if you feel like they're flipping through a book and like from Lord of the Rings,
right? But it's like the depiction of like these like Christmas beings. It looks almost like grim fairy tale.
Right. Yep.
They look mean. They look mad. Very menacing. If you guys have never read grim fairy tales, then you're like, oh, I'm glad Disney didn't do that. Because Disney would be a totally different thing. I mean, I guess, unless you're talking about what is it called? Watcher in the Woods? Yeah, Disney horror film from the 80s.
Yes. Yep.
Which recently got spotlighted in the Ted TV show. By the way.
Okay.
So I was like, oh my God, I haven't seen that movie in ages. I need to revisit that and see if it's as scary as like it's depicted in Ted. But then we get a landscape photo of Norway, and then I love when movies do this, and then it cuts to like the real Norway. And,
yeah.
And it's this happy well, not happy, but it's this family driving through the mountains of Norway, and it's
that's the Griswolds.
Is that what the
Norway adventure or vacation? Yeah. No.
Oh, I was gonna say, but it's this family. They're American. They have accents. The wife has a different accent. She's, I don't know, a foreign. Maybe I don't know if she's like, I don't know what her lineage is, but Martin Starr is trying to kind of hype everybody up. He's like, "Oh my gosh, aren't you guys happy? We're moving here," and they like come across like
from the United States, right? Yeah,
and they come across this road sign that has like a moose on it, and they're like,
they say, "Oh my goodness, look, there's a sign with a moose.
Yeah.
Here, take my picture."
This is gonna be our family picture, guys.
Oh, yeah, this is the Christmas, this year's Christmas card. Will be me so with the family with the moose sign,
right? And then all of a sudden, Martin Starr's like, "Oh my God, there's a moose over there," and like, I am not a very like let's go out into nature person, but I'm not going near anything. Any kind of animal, I'm not going near it because the mom might be around somewhere.
Right, yeah.
I just don't want those issues, right? But Martin Starr, he's not a nature. He's not like Bear Grizzly or what is that dude's name? Bear Grylls.
Right.
Or Survivor Man or something. He's like, hey, he's coming up to this caribou or whatever they're called. And he's like, hey, what's up, buddy? Trying to pet it. And this this thing is like 800-pound like deer or moose.
Yeah.
That could put you away. But then like he only gets scared once he sees the dad or the mother goose or moose.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
And then
and which is double the size.
Yeah, I feel like I remember what's it called, like Brandon who used to come to the nature guy.
Oh yeah,
He was the one that told me like, yeah, moose can be as big as a minivan. I was like, holy crap. You never get the scope of these animals from like photos and videos.
Right, yeah, especially when there's not somebody standing next to it. You just kind of have to.
You're like, oh yeah, that's fine. It's like a horse.
Yeah, right.
It's like a horse triple the size. But yeah, so they all run to the car because they're obviously terrified. And then all of a sudden, a cop comes.
Yep.
And she's like, how you doing there? He's like, well, you learn really easily, or you learn very early in Norway. Don't fuck with nature. And like the wife is like, yeah, I was telling him that, but he was probably not going to listen to it.
Yeah, even this 5 minutes in, you're already like, this guy is like optimistically naive about everything.
Well, you have to be when you're uprooting your entire family into across the world.
Right. Yeah.
And what's it called? We learned that like he inherited the house that they're going to be staying in from his dead uncle.
Right. Who is the one who just...
Yeah. Who passed away from a fire tire.
Right. Right. So, but he has told his family only that he had passed. Yeah, he passed away in the snow, and so they're just kind of assuming that
right.
Heart attack, something simple.
So they get to this house. Like it's him, his wife, and his two kids. There's a younger boy and a teenage girl.
Yeah.
And I was like, I already knew this teenage girl is pissed off.
Oh yeah, yep. Yeah, because your 16-year-old girl is already super angsty, and then you move her to another country.
She doesn't speak the language or anything. They don't have anything that she loves. So
right, yeah, because she's talking about softball, and this, it's like
you better
softball and ice hockey are very different sports.
Right, and skiing, you have to ski. Right, wasn't the bad guys from Mighty Ducks like 2 or 3 from Norway?
I think so. Yeah. Yep.
So yeah, they come to this house. I mean, it's a beautiful property. The house is like, it's very old school.
Mm-hmm.
And like, the husband and wife, they're talking about like she apparently used to be a life coach.
Yeah.
Which if you're a good life coach, you're making a lot of money. Yeah, because you're feeding on you're basically a pyramid scheme. I'm telling you, if these life coaches and these pyramid schemes people were in D&D, Bard, high charisma.
Unless you're going to a life coach, which has changed your life for the better, then ignore us. But yeah, kind of.
Right, but let's be real. No, but like, the family, the husband and wife are talking. They're like, yeah, we're going to retrofit the barn. We're going to turn it into like an Airbnb. It's going to be this getaway for other rich people to come to and like just unwind and meditate and do yoga.
Right. Which
again, like, it seems like her career was pretty good, that she probably has a list of contacts from LA. Like, hey, Mrs. Zuckerberg, you're definitely going to want to, like, just unwind, come to Norway. It's beautiful. It's peaceful. Snow landscape. You guys can, you and Mark, we can oil him up because he's a robot.
Sell the dream.
Exactly. And, she's already has this clientele. So, I mean, it's a pretty solid plan for her. But also, it's, she's obviously not the mother of these children. She's the stepmom.
Yeah, yeah.
And, we do later learn out that, like, Martin Starr had actually attended one of her seminars. And really good on him. This is, like, sort of like a stripper customer situation. Because Martin Starr is no Brad Pitt. He's no Channing Tatum. He looks like, he was obviously in Silicon Valley. He looks like a classic IT kind of guy.
Right. Yeah.
And his sadness worked as like an aphrodisiac to this woman. That's the only thing
or
I could
he had
understand.
enough zeros in his bank account to counteract the goofiness of his
Or
demeanor.
or he might just have this unspoken riz, as the kids say. Like his
Mm,
game must have been on point.
yeah.
But we're learning little things about this family. Like obviously the daughter, she just went straight to her room.
Oh, yep, right. To
She's
call her
like,
friends.
yeah, to call her friends or do something, or just to sulk about this whole situation. But the son is, he's still pretty, like he's like maybe like what, 10 or 11, maybe 12. He looks pretty big.
Yeah,
So,
like 12.
still not, still pretty open about things. He's a little bit more, excited about the whole situation. And then he goes into the barn, like the whole family goes into the barn, but he kind of lingers into the barn.
Yeah, yeah, because mom and dad are just like, hey, let's get like a layout of the land,
Yeah.
and then the kid's like, oh, hey, like super fort.
Yeah. Hey, as a kid, you always wanted a fort, a tree house, something cool, that
Right, a shed, something.
this is like, yeah, this is my man cave, this Batman cave. Um, but he feels like something's watching him in this barn.
Right, because it could be the wind, it could be creaking boards, but there seems like something's moving around.
Yeah, and he tries to tell his parents, but they're like, "Oh, hey, bud, it's just an old barn. The wood's gonna creak and everything. Don't worry." Right? And so like the family decides like, "Hey, let's go into the town. Let's check it out." And Martin Starr again has to be like this beacon of optimism, you know.
Right. Yep.
And if you're coming from LA to this population, I don't know, 1,500 maybe. These two kids are like,
Everybody who lives there, uh, last three generations have also lived there. Yeah.
oh yeah, like it is. It's everyone's kind of looking at this new family that's come strolled into their small community. But what's it called? I forgot. What is his name? Let me look up his name. Lucas, Nora, Bill, and Carol. Okay, yeah. Lucas gets kind of caught up at this one museum.
Right. Yeah.
It's like this little Christmas museum. They have like elves. They have like the garden gnomes and stuff like that. And he's kind of entranced by it. Meanwhile, the family goes into like the diner, the local diner. As soon as they hit in this diner, it is like your nightmare. Like everyone looks at you weird.
Right. But they're also like super obnoxious tourists, even though they now live there. They're like, hey, everybody, as they walk in.
Yeah.
We just moved up. We just took the old barn up, or the old estate up at the top of the hill.
Yeah. But like when they say that, they're like, oh, they give the
Right.
eyes,
Yep.
the eyes, oh. And then Bill, who's like the nearest like Norwegian man, he's a little bit more talkative to them, but he's also still very closed off.
Right. Yeah.
Which is pretty understandable if you've ever like went into a small town, where everybody knows everybody, and they're like, everyone knows everyone's dad or whatever, family. When new people stroll into town, it's kind of like the new kid in school.
Yeah.
But Lucas actually starts to talk to the owner of the museum, and he's like, what are these? He's like, oh, the barn elves.
Yeah. Yep.
Barn elves. And he starts to tell the lore. He's like, yeah, barn elves, they live in your barn, but if you're nice to them, they help you tend to your farm and everything, as long as there's no artificial lights. They hate that. You don't make changes to the barn, and there's no loud noises. You guys can have a very what is it, you guys can live together in peace.
Like a symbiotic relationship. Yeah.
And all that stuff. And he's like, oh, okay. And then Carol comes out. She's like, Lucas, get away from that man. I was like, like the English is kind of weird, like the verbiage, but hey, but she's like, oh, hey, I'm sorry. Was he bothering you?
Yeah, and the guy's like, oh no, it's okay. We have a museum, but we don't ever have any visitors. So I'm happy to talk to him.
Yeah. I know it's funny too because it's like, yeah, you don't have any like visitors because everyone in this town has seen this museum a bunch of times.
Right, and yeah, you're not really a tourist town, so
Exactly.
you're not getting a lot of strangers.
Yeah, but like Carol tries to sell Bill, like she's like, "Oh, we're gonna turn that barn into an Airbnb or like a little getaway like destination for people." And like the schematic she has, it looks beautiful.
Oh yeah,
Like
yeah,
just imagine like, they have like the beautiful bed, but then you have like an outside like bathtub. So like, you can like do the bathtub in the snow.
right, yeah,
It looks
little
serene.
jacuzzi spa thing. Yeah, and the barn's like bigger than my house, so
But it's also like, I feel like that's like one of those destinations like you're gonna have to be rich to go here because it's so
yeah, and
secluded.
it does, and it's a barn, so
Yeah.
it does have a bit of work to be done.
Yeah, a lot of work. But they go back home and sort of like, kind of mull over for the night. Nora, she's on Skype or like whatever with her friend, and she's crying in tears about this whole
Yeah,
situation. And her friend is
right,
like,
and it's the kind of you know connection that you'd expect like in a mountain town where
yeah,
it's like spotty at best.
yeah, like before she could even really fully like vent to her friend, the connection shuts off. And like it feels like there has been a strain on the relationship between the stepmother and the kids. But Bill also has this very passive personality,
Oh yeah,
which isn't great because like as a step parent, as you know, it's hard to
to
discipline.
you're already kind of the enemy
Yeah.
because you're the step parent, and then if you have to also be the
Disciplinary.
yeah, yeah, just it makes it difficult. Yeah,
Yeah, it like but she's trying to mend these relationships, right? Her and Lucas are pretty fine, but it's like she wants to mend this relationship with Nora because like it seems like they've been together for a while, but when they got married, that's when like sort of the shift started to happen,
right.
you know? But then like yeah, she Nora kind of rebuffs Carol. She's like, so everyone kind of just turns in for the night, but Lucas looks out his window because he hears something outside.
Right.
And the barn door is creaked up a little bit open and you see like cat eyes.
Right. Yes.
That would have I would have shit bricks. You know what I mean? Because like the eyes are a little bit too big for a cat. And also
I
what's a
think
cat doing here?
it would be off-putting, but I feel like not that terrifying because I've been into enough nature places like in camping woods and stuff that I know that animals' eyes definitely have a reflective.
Yeah.
So like maybe it's a raccoon, maybe it's some kind of weird Norway creature.
Like a Norwegian raccoon, like they're just a little
Yeah.
bit bigger. No. But the next morning, as like everyone's kind of doing their own thing, Lucas goes into the barn and the barn elf comes out.
He coaxes him out a little bit.
Yeah, he's
He's like, I know you're here. We're not here to hurt you.
yeah, we're
I
not here
just
to
wanted to
bother
say
you.
hi.
Yeah, and then like he's like, "Do you want a cookie?" He puts a
Yeah,
cookie
and
on the
yeah,
floor.
yeah, you never go wrong with a chocolate chip cookie.
I was just kind of like sad that it wasn't like a Keebler cookie. I felt like that would have been spot on, but maybe they don't have Keebler in Norway. And like, this elf, like he grabs it and he's like, and then his like stomach growls a little bit, and he's like, "Oh, let me give you another one."
Yep.
And like they kind of do like a sign, right? Like Lucas is patting himself, and he's like Lucas, and then
Yeah.
like the elf kind of like he kind of takes that too. He's like, okay, he does it too.
Right. And it's kind of like the little we're friends.
Yeah, and so like as like Bill and Carol are talking in the thing, he's like, "All right, let me go shelf or what's it called,
Shovel the snow.
shovel the snow so we can kind of, move around." He goes outside and everything's already shoveled.
I, right. And you're like, yo, the elf did it because you just fed him some cookies. And
Yeah,
that's what the guy was saying at the museum.
yeah,
You help him, he helps you.
yeah,
But dad's just like, oh, yeah, it's because it's like a socialist town. So I'm sure that
they have a
the
service.
city just comes out and does it for you.
Yeah, no city would ever do that for every driveway. But hey, maybe it's a smaller town than I think, right? And it's funny, right? And like we have like a small little montage of like the family kind of like getting together and start to fix up the house. Like Nora and Lucas are having fun, and meanwhile, like Lucas is still visiting his like little barn elf friend, kind of
Right.
giving him treats
Yep.
and everything like that. And it feels like everything is kind of good, right? Like Bill is like he's like struggling with like the firewood.
You
And
like doesn't know how to use an axe.
yeah, and like the elf is like looking in the barn door, and he ends up doing it. This elf is, yeah, he's like really good help.
Right. Yeah.
So it seems like everything is pretty good until Bill and Kara like, we gotta get like like, we gotta get the town here to like get to know us and we can all be friendly. So they decide to do a dinner party.
Right. Yeah. There's like the holidays are just around the corner. We'll do something a couple days before Christmas.
Yeah, to really get friendly with everybody. And before that, Bill ends up sort of decorating the entire property.
Right. With once again, Griswolds.
Yeah.
Lots of lights, lots of
Lots of-
sounds.
And oh my gosh. And this is like sort of the first time the barn elf becomes pissed. He gets super mad, and Lucas knows. He tries to stop it, but like he's like, "Oh, come on, Lucas!" And so they
Right.
plug it
It's the holidays.
yeah. And so like the next morning when Bill is in the barn, he almost gets like, what is it, like a I don't know, like a barrel thrown at him.
Oh, right. Yeah. So, right. Because he come out in the morning and all the Christmas decorations are smashed. And then he goes in the barn and like a barrel almost falls on him.
Yeah, it was. I was like, that's one hell of that was not a warning. He was like trying to hurt this man.
and they go inside. They call the sheriff lady, and she comes back out, and she's pretty oblivious too, and she just like, foreigners, I don't care. She's just like, I bet it's probably just that moose still mad at you.
To get revenge. But she also drops like, or maybe it's the barn ghost.
Yes, yeah.
And like this isn't the first time Carol's overheard that. So she finally asks. She's like, "Hey, this isn't the first time someone said like our barn is haunted. What's going on?"
Right. And that's kind of when he tells the story of how the uncle actually died.
Yeah,
And they're like,
upset.
"What?
Yeah.
Why didn't you say something?
Yeah.
It's his ghost." And he's like, "Oh no, it's not his ghost."
Yeah.
And of course, I didn't tell you because then you wouldn't have wanted to move up here.
Yeah,
And they're like, "Yeah, right."
yeah, and like now the whole family kind of learns about it, and at this point, like like he's like trying to put it. They're in bed, and he's like looking up flute fish, which is not something I want to try. I've heard about this fish before. It's like what, marinated in like ammonia or something like that. It is not a great dish. To if you it's like I might try it if like a professional Norwegian chef made it for me. But still, it is still like that still would be sketchy. Like I'm not gonna try blowfish either. Like I don't want the possibility of dying. So I especially don't want to try it from an American man
Who doesn't look like he's got any cooking skills.
And so again, this is like another situation where like the family, like Carol has to be this disciplinary figure to, because Nora's like, I'm not eating that, and she like grabs the magazine and starts reading at the table.
Right. Yeah.
And she's like, dude, say something. You know, we have rules for dinner, like no reading, no phones or anything. And he's like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, not a really great look as like your partner, you know. I was like, Jesus, this guy's an asshole. And they finally have like sort of like this huge fight.
Right. Yeah.
Sort of had like this falling out, right? But like we still have
and she's been super positive, and she's been keep saying about like the happy vision or
yeah, like the happy board or whatever.
Yeah, where it's like, hey, picture that like your happiest place, and so then nothing can get you down, kind of thing.
Yeah, and Nora's like, yeah, picture your happy place.
Yeah, and at that point, it's the first time she's not like super supportive of being in Norway. She's like, you made me leave my career, and now we're here, and the kids don't have any friends, and they hate it, and it's just nothing but snow.
Yeah, but they're like, all right, come on, like the party is gonna uplift everybody again, like don't worry.
Yeah.
And so they had the dinner party, and it's like kind of like awkward. He's like, he tries to make this toast, and he's like,
that's right. And he's been trying to study Norwegian, and he's like talking about, I don't know, whale penises or something.
He's like yes, fish and barrel. Wow. It's like Google Translate Norwegian. But the museum guy's like, don't worry, everybody just has to get a little bit of alcohol in them and you're fine.
Yes. Yeah.
Which it does happen. Like everyone, like they start playing a lot of music.
Yep.
And like everyone starts drinking. Meanwhile, Barn Elf super pissed.
Right. Yeah. The louder the music gets, the angrier he gets.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. And like Nora finally kind of makes a friend. And she's like, you're allowed to drink? And she's like, well, my mother knows I'll get my hands on it, so it's better that she's around when I do it.
Yeah.
But Bill, who is now like the life of the party, like he's already agreed with Martin Starr to, oh no, Raymond, his name is Raymond, sorry. Raymond has agreed to be like the Santa for them.
Yeah.
He's like, I love playing Santa Claus. But he's also made moonshine. He's also...
Right. And it's got a skull and crossbones. It's like 96%.
100%. If I like fart that while I'm smoking a cigarette, like, or if I burp that while I'm smoking a cigarette, I'm gonna burn myself to death. But Nora gets her hands on it.
Yeah.
But Carol does catch her drinking, and she ends up throwing up where the barn elf is underneath.
Yeah.
So this barn elf is gonna kill his family.
Oh yeah. He barfs on the floor, but there's slots in the floor, so it drips down on the barn elf.
It is so bad. And then when that happens, Lucas is like, party over.
Yep.
Party over. Right? And then he talks to the museum guy, and he's like, hey, I think the barn elf is gonna be super pissed. Is there anything I could do to like satiate or like kind of curb his anger?
Right. And then the museum guy's like, hey, well, of course, the tradition is you every Christmas you bring him the barn elf a bowl of porridge with butter and then cinnamon, and then he'll forgive you for anything that you did the previous year.
But it's like this whole interaction is funny because Lucas is like, porridge. He's like, yeah, porridge, you put this, and then this. And he's like, I know what porridge is. And he's like, well, now you know.
He's like, now you know, because I told you.
Yeah. Super. I love that. Like, that was like so funny to me, right? I apologize though. The dinner with the flute fish happens after this. Because the party's over when like Nora.
Oh, you are right. Yes.
Yeah. Sorry about that.
Yep.
But so the dinner happens after this whole situation. This is where it kind of starts to build up because Carol has to discipline her again for drinking, and then Nora's like, "I'm grounded anyway. Where am I gonna go?" So it's kind of a bad situation. And then like the morning after, Lucas makes the porridge.
Right.
And
Yes.
then this is how I remember it because like nobody eats the flute fish. And then oh, what's it called? It was this friggin' face. Bill ends up eating the porridge.
Right. Yes. Because he hadn't. Because the fish was terrible.
Yeah.
So then, once everybody kind of leaves, he goes into the kitchen and eats the bowl of porridge.
Son of a bitch. And then so Lucas is like, well, we still have this flute fish. I was like, dude, not a good idea. He ends up giving the elf the flute fish.
And and he does. He apologizes. He's like, "I'm sorry, we don't have any porridge, but we have this delicious flute fish. I think you'll like it."
Oh my gosh. And I was like, dude, what are you thinking? This sends the barn elf into like, I am not just gonna murder this family. I'm gonna skin them alive. And so finally, like the next day or like the night or whatever happens, Bill finally gets confronted by the barn elf.
Yeah.
And he's like, holy shit, it's real, everything Lucas has been saying is real. Sorry, well, like, okay, so like I did miss a part, but like earlier in the movie he does get tossed down the stairs by the barn elf.
Oh yes, right. Because there's one night, and they call the sheriff. Oh, you're right. Because that's the night of the party. He comes downstairs, like their kitchen is like destroyed, and he gets pushed down the stairs from behind. And then they call the sheriff again, and
oh,
she
it
comes
must have
down.
been a fox.
Yeah, so if you have a window open, foxes will come into your house and try to find food.
This sheriff does not give a fuck about this family. And obviously Carol is more mad because she's like, bro, be a man. I need you to sack up because this lady is not doing anything.
Right, because even like the first time when all the Christmas decorations,
it must have been the local boys.
Right, and boys will just be boys.
Oh.
And then the wife's like, well, what are you going to do about it? And she's like, yeah, I will get the forensics team out here and we will take fingerprints and DNA samples. And then, and then we will definitely catch. And then it goes to leave. And wife's like, aren't you going to say something to her? We got to get catch these kids. Yeah. And he's like, oh no, didn't you hear her? Yeah, no, they're going to take care of it. That's fine.
Yeah, so condescending.
Just optimistically naive.
Right? And so, but yeah, once Bill finally gets confronted by this barn elf, because this barn elf is so. Oh wait, no, sorry. Before that, Raymond comes. This is how it all gets started. Raymond comes with the Santa outfit and the gifts.
Yes.
And he's like, he sees at the barn. He's like, Lucas, what are you doing out here? It's so cold.
Right. Because he just assumes it's a kid over by the barn.
Yeah, and Lucas has like a sledgehammer up there, and he starts knocking on the barn, and he turns around and he's like, holy shit. And then he gets icicled. Oh my god. And then that's when Bill comes out. He sees like Lucas's shed because they had like the whole fight. So he's like, I'm gonna go out for some air. So he comes out and he's like, oh, Raymond's push sled. And then
is here.
He goes around the barn and he sees Raymond hanging with the snow, the icicle.
Noose made out of Christmas lights and the icicle stuck through his head.
Yeah, and so he runs. Oh no! So he runs into that. He's like, "We gotta go. We gotta get the fuck out of here!" And obviously, the whole family's like, "Yes." And they go out, and they're stuck in the car. It's not turning. And then all of a sudden, they hear something on the roof of the car, and this is where they finally get confronted by the barn elf. And
right.
They kind of they flash him with the beams.
Right, and it kind of stuns him.
Yeah, and then when they go out and they look at him, he does like it's what I've only seen goblins do with like a goblin horn. He like, and then we see like the landscape of Norway is like, And then all of a sudden, a bunch of freaking barn elves come out of the barn.
I, right. That totally surprised me. Like I was not expecting
Yeah.
30 elves to come running out of the barn.
And the fight starts to ensue.
Yeah.
Like they are completely terrorizing this family until the sheriff comes. And she's like, I don't see any men, little men. Until they steal her snowmobile and run her over.
Right. And even at that point, she's still out there like, kids, give me my snowmobile back.
Yeah, they Fargo her pretty much with the snowmobile.
Right. And the family's like, do you have a gun? They're super dangerous. They keep attacking us. And she's like, I am not an American. We just don't carry guns and then shoot people in the face.
So it's like bad stereotypes both ways, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, so she gets killed. The elves crash the snowmobile into the barn. The gun gets dislodged. One of the elves pick it up, and they end up killing each other because they don't know what the gun is. And yeah, and the family starts to get attacked in the house, and they're kind of fending them off until Carol ends up getting stabbed with like a cork, a wine.
Oh
cork.
yeah. Corkscrew.
Yeah, corkscrew. Sorry. And then so they hole up in Nora's room, and Bill is like, okay, Raymond's push sled is out there. The museum guy lives at the edge of the mountain or at the foot of the mountain.
If I can make it to him, he might be able to tell me a way that we can appease the elves.
Yeah, or stop them or something. So they're like, okay. And so Carol and Nora end up staying at the house.
Yeah, because mom can't. It's like I can't run. I
Yeah.
just got corkscrewed in the leg.
I got a bum leg. And so this is like a nice situation because Carol and Nora kind of mend their relationship here. But like Nora also explains to her, I'm a teenager. I'm angsty. But like the only reason I'm treating you like this is because I've already accepted you a long time ago.
Right. Yeah.
Which was sweet,
It's
a sweet moment.
It's I'm mean to you because I like you.
Yeah, I already see you as like a parental figure, and so they're able to kind of mend the relationship, but these elves start to attack, so they kind of fend them off for a little bit, and she's like, I have moonshine in my room. And she's like, we're going to talk about that later. And they start filling up all these like ornaments. They start turning them into like Molotovs.
Little Molotov cocktails.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Bill and Lucas, they're getting chased by two barn elves, and this barn elf is like throwing like saws at them.
He's the saw blades.
Super dangerous. They're able to kind of thwart them because they run into like the moose, but then the moose kind of moves away, so the elves like kind of breathe a sigh of relief until like a truck comes and hits them. The truck does not stop, by the way.
Oh yeah, no.
They're like,
don't get hit by a car in Norway. Yeah, that's all I'm saying.
It must have been a moose. But they're able to go to the museum guy, and he's like in like a fancy like dress, what's it called, like a suit. He's like reading. He's like, he has like some whiskey on him, and he's like smoking a cigar, and they're kind of like, dude, we need you to come with us. He's like, Lucas, I told you, barn elves aren't real. They're only a figment of, Norwegian imagination. He's like, no. Raymond's dead. The sheriff is dead. You gotta come with us. He's like, okay, fine, but I have to change. I have to put my winter clothes on. Super lax. And as they're driving, he's like driving kind of fast. He's like, oh, I don't know if you know, but in Norwegian, we shouldn't be drinking and driving.
Yeah, it is against the law to drink and drive. I'm trying to drive
very
cautiously.
Safely, yeah. And so they finally get into the house. In between the time that they get to the guy's house and they get back to the house, Nora and Carol have had to sort of like escape separately.
Right. Oh yeah, because they're starting to bust down the door. They're starting to come up through the chimney pipes.
Yeah. And so like Nora ends up trying to like book it, but then she ends up getting caught by like 20 elves. And then Nora, she calls the museum guy, and then she gets taken away.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. She
And so
sneaks downstairs and finds
the
Dad's
cell phone.
phone that
Yeah.
was like downstairs charging.
Exactly. And so like now like what's it called? Now they got back to the house. But Bill, Lucas, and museum guy, they follow the elves to a secret passageway in their barn.
Right.
And they kind of like go through like these series of tunnels, and they come out to what I don't know if it's like a different like dimension, or if
Right,
it's
or just a
just
camp out in the forest or what it is. Yeah, but
yeah,
it seems like it's where the town,
of
the
the
elf
elves.
town is. Yeah.
Right? And it seems like I was like, it's a different dimension because there's a lot more like mist around. And
Mm,
it's like it's snowing, but it's not like super thick because like the trees aren't coated in the snow like all the other trees are
right.
in the rest of the. So I was like, oh, it must be something supernatural, right? But meanwhile, like Lucas, he's like been seeing the elf, and he's kind of like the main elf, and he's kind of been trying to like reestablish their connection.
Yeah, yeah.
But like when he tried to do that at the beginning, Nor ended up setting his beard on fire. And so now when they get to this place, and it's like a little mini hedge like stone situation, Nora and Carol are like hooked, like are tied up to this thing.
Right, like to a stake where they're
Yeah.
getting ready to get burned.
Or like yeah, sacrifice or something. And then like they're trying to like cut them loose, but then like the I guess the eldest elf, he is like on top of the main rock, and he's like shooting this gun. And then the museum guy is like, I know you're from America, but in Norwegian, like or Norway, we talk our disputes out. You know, have you heard of the Oslo Agreement?
Right.
And so he tries to talk to this barn elf, and he's like, I don't know if you know about the Oslo Agreement. And he gets shot in the shoulder.
Right, right. It seems like it's working, and then it doesn't.
But Lucas eyes like their elf,
Yeah.
and he hits them with their little like sign. And I guess maybe this elf has like a fondness for Lucas because
Yeah.
he ends up cutting them loose, and they end up escaping together. Museum guy, they're like, he's dead. And yeah, they get back to the barn, and they're kind of cornered, but like the elf kind of helps them, you know, like oh. But and then Nora is like, she sees the trail of the gasoline, and
Right.
in the
Right, because
montage,
there's gasoline because
the
the little
snowmobile.
snowmobile crashed and is leaking.
Yeah, and in the montage throughout the movie, she's just been making paper planes and shooting them into a basket.
Yeah.
And so she tells Carol, like, I can do this. I can finish this. And like Carol kind of backs her up. She's like, you guys dip out, and Nora's gonna finish it. So she sets this thing on fire. Like the music kind of like plays, and she throws it, and all the elves are watching this like flaming paper plane go down, and totally explodes this thing.
Yep. Yep.
And they're all looking at it, and then museum guy comes out of like somewhere, and he's
Oh yeah,
like,
he's tied up, and they're the like two elves kind of like bring him around
yeah,
the back of the house.
and they like throw him onto the ground, and he's like, I told you, Norway, we talk our problems out. But like yeah, they're like now looking at this whole thing, it's burning down, and they're like, oh my gosh. And then like he's looking at like the main elf, and he's like, he's so sad. Where will he live? He has no more home. And then
Yep.
Lucas is like, I got an idea. And they bring him to the museum. He's like, here's your new home. Nobody ever comes here, so there's no one's gonna bother you. There's no like loud music.
Right.
And you know, I presume that Lucas is gonna come and bring him food once in a while.
Yeah, because
Or
Lucas
even
lives
music, yeah,
or
museum
works
guy.
there, so yeah, it gives him something to do during the day.
Exactly. And then like the family kind of like they kind of reconcile with each other, and the movie kind of ends on a happy note.
Yeah, I kind of assumed that they're gonna move back to America, but
Maybe we don't ever get a clear answer. They might.
I took it as that's why the elf couldn't stay with them because
Uh,
they were not going to be staying there.
well, maybe maybe not. maybe they still would. Who knows? Because we don't get any clarification on it. They're not
No.
like, let's go back to America. Oh, man. All right. Let's move on to our other section before we get into our thoughts of high star, low star. Colby.
So I was looking. There is quite a few tens, but they are vague. So I had to go down to like 8 to actually get some like description.
Okay.
So we got an 8 out of 10. Great horror fun for the festive season. I wasn't expecting much from this movie when I went into it with very low expectations, especially seeing some quite negative reviews on here. But it's just great. It's not perfect, but it's a ton of fun and very funny in places. It's a very Christmassy music, or it's very Christmassy music setting, and overall look screams Christmas. The biggest negative of this film takes a little too long to get going. They could have chopped a good 15 minutes out of the first 45, which would have solved the pacing issues. But be patient and stick with it because it's an absolute blast. Perfect for adults and young teens. Just enough gore and swears to satisfy and enough laughs to keep you grinning from ear to ear. If you like Santa's sleigh, Christmas Horror Story, Krampus, etc., you'll love this one too.
And then I have a 1 out of 10. Only one, though. Only one review for 1 out of 10. So, terrible movie that can't decide if it's a horror or comedy. I am shocked at the many good reviews. This movie can decide if it's a horror or comedy, and it's this disgusting juxtaposition of the two is sickening and stupid. I'm not sure if this was done by Norwegians who have stereotypical views of Americans or just by dumb Americans. The parents were horrible, and I was actively rooting for the elf to kill the father. The stepmother was incredibly silly and annoying, but at least she made some effort to be a parent. The father, on the other hand, was terrible, emotionally abusive person who is emotionally absent and emotionally neglectful of his spouse and children. It was appalling. The father never backs up his wife in dealing with the children. The father completely disregards the feelings of his wife and children, even when they are in distress. For a movie to work, we need to be able to root for the main characters. This is supposed to be a movie about a family, but I just didn't care if the parents were killed. At least the kids were okay and not hateful. I mean, I somewhat agree with the 1 out of 10. I wish it leaned a little bit more heavily on one side. You know, it would have been fine if it was a horror with hints of comedy, or if it was going to be a slapstick comedy with the horror aspects of it as well. You know,
Okay.
just because like he said, like, you know, or like even your review had said, if they cut 15 minutes out, there were a little bit of like pacing issues for it.
Yeah. They could have been, or they could have done a little more mystery of the elf before he met the elf, something like that to kind of.
Yeah, because I was surprised how early we actually saw the elf in person.
Right. Yeah.
Because I feel like if he had just left the cookies there and he came back the next morning and they were gone and like the everything was all shoveled, I'd have been like, oh yeah, maybe there is something there.
Right, and then have it be a couple times he had to go in with snacks before he actually
got to see like
he got enough trust to see the
a full view of the elf. So like I feel like that was like sort of like one of the missteps of it. But like I think overall, like, you know, I actually didn't mind the relationship between like the parents. It's almost a realistic view of what that could look like being like in a relationship with like your second wife.
Yeah. And it wasn't taking itself too serious.
Yeah.
So I'm like, yeah, the dad was over the top, you know, like I said, naively optimistic, but like beyond belief. But I'm like that. It was just to make him that kind of character.
Yeah, but it's also like a realistic view of like the struggles of being a step parent, right? Of like...
right, yeah, and the like, and the girl, you know, definitely you could see that a teenage person going and having to leave their life and their friends in that time when they're like finally getting their own independence, and like now it's stifled because they're in another country, versus like a younger person who's like, hey, I still love dad. Dad wants to shovel snow and put up Christmas ornaments. I'll do that with him. Yay.
Yeah, it's like it's so rough, like being like her age, and like you're finally developing your personality and like what kind of person you're gonna be,
Right.
and having to, I mean, it was very, what do you call that when it's like convenient that a lot of these Norwegians knew how to speak English.
Oh, right. Yes. Because almost everybody they came up to didn't speak English at first. And then once they were like American, they're like, oh, okay, we speak English.
But it's also just like a slap in the face of the American education system that we don't vehemently teach another language for our growing youth.
Right. Right.
Oh man. But I also like that a lot of the dialogue from the Barn Elves weren't translated.
Yes. Yeah, it was a language, but it was like a grunty language, and it was
Barn Elfish.
That's exactly. It wasn't necessarily Norwegian.
Yeah, that's what it was. It's funny because I believe the Barn Elves knew Norwegian.
It seemed like they did when, like, especially when the
museum guy.
Yeah,
was talking to them, and so I really actually appreciated that. Some people might not, but it like I like it because it puts the viewer in the same position as the characters.
Right. Yeah.
And I feel like that's like sometimes people don't think about that, but I like that aspect that you're not like, and it's also probably easier for the screenwriter, right? He doesn't have to put like any sort of dialogue for those characters.
Yeah.
What did you think about the character design for the elves?
I thought it was great. Yeah, I mean, like for being certainly this was like a low budget movie. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I thought they did a great job. I'm like they were definitely looked like creepy old gnomes,
right?
Like
grumpy.
You're right. Yeah, they look like the type of little gnomes that you'd be put out that you would buy at a
at a holiday store or like a hobby store. I like it too because like as you're watching the movie and the progression, like a lot of the elves start to drink and get super rowdy and super loud, and I like that the main elf is like a traditionalist. Because he's looking at his brothers with like this disdain, like why are you guys getting loud, getting rowdy, and like not minding like all these things? We have our way of life,
right? And it was kind of like, this is my barn, and you're gonna come to my barn and be rowdy.
Yeah. So I like that kind of was sort of one of the turning points that like possibly explains why he shifted in his whole thing. But yeah, I think this movie is like, I don't know. I could understand not having a lot of 10 out of 10s that were coherent.
They were all just like, oh, great movie, kind of like, super short.
Yeah. So. But like like your review had said, if they cut 15 minutes out, the pacing would have been a little bit better. And the only really fixes I would say is just like lean either way, lean more into the horror aspect with a bit of comedy, or more into the comedy aspect with a bit of horror in it. That way people won't be so confused what it's supposed to be.
Right. Yeah.
Because like and I think it would have been so good to have leaned into more of the comedy aspect, because I love the conversations that people were having, with like these Norwegians and these Americans. Like the oatmeal thing is hilarious.
Right. Yeah, and that was like in your review where they were like, oh, I don't know if it was just bad writing with the stereotype. That was part of the funny.
Yeah.
With like you move to another country, you visit another country, it's you have all these preconceived notions, and then you get there and you're like, oh, it's not like that. How dumb am I?
Yeah, and it's great because it's not like that for both parties.
Right. Yeah. On both sides. Exactly.
Oh man. But yeah, did you have any like favorite parts in this movie?
Um, there were some unique kills.
Yeah.
That was I always, once you get into a horror movie like that kind of, once you get into that deep killing part, it's like the uniqueness of the kill kind of makes the difference. It's not just everybody just gets stabbed or
Right. But see, like that's also like where like like that's also where the movie kind of falters because there wasn't enough killing. Really we got maybe three. I think we only really got three kills in this movie. The uncle, Raymond, and the sheriff.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like I totally understand where like the 1 out of 10 review is going because I think they really just wanted one or the other with hints. So,
Right.
But
Start the killing during the Christmas party, and that way you have a dozen people there to.
oh right, so to really massacre. And I think that's where like you could have had like a lot of creative kills and everything. So that's like really the only really unfortunate parts. But yeah. But we're coming.
But I guess I get with the chasing and like the kills are a little more off screen. It's not like there's blood, but it's not like super gory. Yeah. I feel like it's kind of makes it more
family friendly.
Yeah, like you're not showing this necessarily to like an 8-year-old, but definitely like you get to like once you get you're like 12, 13-year-olds, I think this is
fine to show.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're coming into our time, so I want to go ahead and thank you guys for checking us out. Make sure to check out all of our other holiday months. We've got a ton of movies that I'm pretty sure you guys haven't seen.
Right.
Definitely check that out.
Themed around people, themed around ideas, around holidays,
concepts.
Like we said earlier.
Yeah, definitely check that out. But we do our reviews in 4 different sections. We have streaming, DVD, Blu-ray, and Ultimate Box Collection. Colby, where are you at for this one?
I wonder if there's anything extra that you'd get with a Blu-ray.
Right.
I haven't heard any kind of sequel or anything, so I'm not sure there's what there would possibly be in a box set. I don't know. I really enjoyed this. This definitely has rewatch value. This is like bad movie night kind of for the holidays. Get a couple people over and have a couple drinks and throw this on in the rotation. Maybe I go Blu-ray.
Yeah. I think I would probably just go DVD for this one. Like I said, like the issues aren't very glaring, but I would like for it to be lean one way or the other. That's my only thing. I was like, dude, I need to see some elves get blown up. Yeah, I need to see some cool elf related killings.
I think the Blu-ray would have to be like the marketing department, make it a steel box or make it, something,
or like it's like the shape of like the barn.
Yeah, right. And something like that. And it opens up like the barn doors open, and then
there's an elf in there.
Give me a little something extra, and I'd definitely go Blu-ray with it.
Oh man, but yeah, thank you guys for joining us. Make sure to check out links down below where we have all of our other social media links.
Yeah, we got our Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Threads, TikTok, YouTube.
Yeah, we got everything down there for you to contact us and throw us some recommendations. But I want to thank you guys for joining us. My name is Barry.
This is Colby.
And this is Who Watches This. If you guys want to check who does our theme music, it is Lee Rosevere. It's called Arcade Montage. It's on our album Muse for Podcast 3, and her Bandcamp is down below.
Thank you.